Hey there guys, this is Malorian, and this is going to be my coverage of the Steamroller I went to today. Unfortunately, I forgot my camera, so this is going to be a sit back while I regale you a tale. But you know, it shouldn't be super long. It was 3 games, and I mean, the biggest thing I want to get through with this video is the thought process behind how I made my list, the idea behind the list, how the games went, what I could have done to make them go better, and then kind of what I thought of the event as a whole. So first of all, going into this, it's been a while since I went to my last Steamroller. It's more just a time issue, right? With me going up and down from Fort McMurray, and having so little time here with my family, going away for these events are hard to do. But this one, finally, I got to go to. So great. And I want to take out a real good faction. One where, you know, I have my ones where I have fun with and stuff, but you know what? This is going to be win time. Because another thing, like I talked about before, is that Dan from Mini Wargaming was going to be there. Guys from the Grots, the Cogs, these are big groups from here in Alberta that go to events in the States and win. So, you know, this is going to be a high-level event. I'm going to bring my best and try and beat these guys. So my process into this is, of course, there's the lists I like to play, like little silly riot things in this. But you know what? There's also the lists that I'm comfortable with and I know they're strong. And a couple of those ones that are really big for me are going to be Epic Thaggrosh to start off with. Now, I know the whole idea of shredder spam is kind of old and stuff, but you know what? It's almost to a point now where it's almost a dark horse. Or it's actually kind of funny. I kind of thought that. I made this list thinking I'd catch people off guard. And then all of a sudden, this last week, on Removes from Play and also on Crippled System, they were talking about it. And last week was talking about ETHAC as well on Chantax. It's like, you know, maybe I'm not picking the best time to pull this guy out. But that's my one list. The way it was a 50-point list. And in this one had Epic Thaggrosh, a Carnivian, a Raic, 10 Shredders, 2 Harriers, 2 Stingers, then a full unit of the Legionnaires, a Forsaken, a Shepherd, and also a Spell Martyr, and that's 50 points. And really the whole idea is it's not just blindly throw all my Shredders in your face, it's also a big thing where you get a lot more out of the feat if you can actually charge up with the Shredders and then feat to kill farther away. I mean, sure, I can, you know, rabbit and run and feat, and I can get like this awesome alpha strike, but man, does it work better if I can like kill twice. So that's why the Legionnaires are there. They're there to take that first hit, bring the line to me, and then I can charge in and feat to kill even more. That's why that's there. Now, Epic Thaggrosh, he's also a hard hitter. So that's why I have the Rake there to make him so he's immune to free strikes, because with having flight, he can just fly over, kill whatever he needs to do. And as well, I have the Spell Martyr in there because, you know what, Scourge is an awesome spell. AoE, they can knock things down. If I can't hit the caster because their defense is so high, I can just run something by them and AoE, knock them both down. So that's really the idea. I mean, Harriers are good for killing solos. We can go really to depth, but that's really the idea, is that there's layers of assassination there that I can do, and then really it's just draw you in and then counter. Now, looking at the list and going to your second list, something that you always want to do is build for your bad matchup. And really, you know, looking at that list, what is my bad matchup? Is it the Colossal? You know, if I go see something with a big storm wall? I don't think so, because usually they don't have much else, so I can run around, and then that's the time where I get the alpha strike on the character. You know, you can have Epic Haley back there, but, you know, I'm just going to run around, I can attack her, and she's not all that tough and all those things, right? So that's not the bad matchup. The bad matchup is going to be more of these brick units, whether it's Skorne, or it can also be with Trolls, you know, really strong, tough units where my Shredders can't really even like damage these guys that well. They have so many boxes, high armor, and because of the defensive brick, I can't get to them. So in those cases, I'm going to be taking Saren. Saren is definitely very well known, and there's going to be Saren, 2 Carnivians, Scythian, an Angelius, a Ravagore, and that's the list. Also a Protector as well, because I had 5 points. So that's going to be the one that can really get in there, rip up these guys. Who cares if you have 8 boxes? I'm probably going to kill you in one hit anyway because I'm stronger. Then I pop my feet, you can't attack me, and I do it again. And another thing I did too, because I'm more comfortable with the Epic Thagrosh list, I set up in my 2 lists there so that the Saren one was number 1, so people see that, know Saren, and then they'll take a list to build it, which is probably going to be something with more shooting, more infantry, so that they can, I can't attack you in close combat, but I can shoot you, and then I have more infantry to get in your way, and blah, blah, blah. And then really, I'm planning to take my Epic Thagrosh, and it's going to run up there and kill stuff. So there you go. I also do a little side note that I got my brother to come play too with his Cricks, and so that's a little minor win right there. But now let's get to the tournament. I got there for the Steamroller, and things have changed. The meta has changed since the last time I was there. Last time I was there, you had the people there that were really serious. You had the Grots in there. You have a couple of our own local brew guys that are really strong. Then you also had a lot of guys that are there for fun. They're the guys bringing out kind of the crazy stuff and whatever. And really with that old meta, I would say I'm somewhere around the middle or a little bit above the curve, right? I would like to say that if you're a person that, can beat me constantly, that means you're in the upper part. If I usually beat you, you're probably in the bottom part. I like to think that I'm in that middle type of ground there. This was a raised up meta where you had the Grots there. So these are guys that, winning all these events and things, very strong players. You had the Cogs there now as well, and they're very strong players. You also had guys coming in from other places as well. We had guys coming in from Saskatchewan and stuff coming to this event. And really, you could tell that the skill level had been pushed up. The guys that are coming from all over the place to play, there are these very strong players, and really a lot of the guys, there still are some guys that are showing up just because they love to play, but really the big group of guys I used to see for that were pretty much gone. It's really a very smaller amount. So definitely a very different story, and one of the things that's kind of very interesting in the way that you go into this is that normally in, say, a fantasy tournament, when I go into it, the first game is completely random. Who knows what skill level I'm going to play against? It's kind of funny because the way that you do in a Steamroller is that the only thing that you don't do that's random is you make sure that people aren't playing against local people or people that they travel with type thing, right? So you make sure that you make those groups and then you mix and match. And because of that, and actually because, probably for the most part on average, the local talent is lower than these guys from the other groups who go out there and win these events and they're freaking awesome. It's actually worse. It makes it harder for your first game. So that was going to be a problem. And let's just jump to my first game here where I was up against a guy from the Grots. We'd actually played one time before and I got really lucky. These guys are used to playing with upper tier casters. So when I pulled out P. Lilith, I kind of caught him with surprise with what you can do with the assassination, killed off his guy, and it's like, whoa, I actually beat a Grot. But now we have to have a rematch. So coming into this, he's running Kador, and his 2 casters is the new Butcher 3, and he also has Sorsha. Now, looking at the 2 lists, I'm pretty sure he's going to run Butcher 3 because I'm assuming that it's a new caster. He wants to try it out. I'm sure he also sees me as a weaker player and someone that you can try these new things out. Plus, Butcher 3, from what I know at this point, is supposed to be good. I don't know him very well at this point at all, but he's probably going to be the first list anyway. Now, I need a way to kill Butcher 3. So at first I'm thinking Saren. Saren with all my big beasts, that's the way I need to kill Butcher. However, I'm really worried because these guys are really good at caster kills, so I'm thinking I should take my Thagrosh because then with all those dudes, all the beasts, all the legionnaires, I can just gum things up and then hopefully set up so that I can either get an assassination off with my Carnivian or with the Thagrosh himself. Now his list is really a thing where he has the Behemoth as his main thing there. He has the Iron Fang Pegman. He has, some Great Bears, stuff like that. So it really isn't a lot of guys. There's also some Widowmakers and stuff like that. But, I'm thinking it's going to go fairly well. The mission is process of elimination. There's 2 zones. There's 2 the objectives in the middle you have to destroy. But really, because we're probably two aggressive armies, that's probably not going to come up. Anyway, he wins first turn, and he's just moving on up there. Just kind of what you expect. I can't even remember what really spells he puts up, but he's really just moving on up. And it's obvious that he's going to be just in my face. Butcher is leading the charge. And so I was kind of faced with a problem here. Like, should I feat and just get up there? Because one of the issues is that there's like a wall down the center that he's now defending with his Iron Fang pikemen. So I thought, oh, I don't think so. The idea is that I'm going to run up with the Legionnaires, like I said, let them come at me. All the Shredders are just moving up, and then on his turn, he'll come up, kill the Legionnaires, and then that's when I'll pop my feet, go crazy, wipe out the Iron Fang pikemen, wipe out the Widowmakers. He actually had the Winter Guard riflemen and Joe as well, you know, just really just chew up all this stuff and surround him with Shredders. He'll be forced to kill them, and then there you go. And then as soon as I passed a turn, he's like, huh, I think I'm going to kill your caster. I'm thinking, what? What are you talking about? But I'm like, let's see how this happens, right? Like, because these guys clearly know what they're doing. So I just sit back and watch this unfold. And basically, it says Widowmakers and stuff going up and shooting off my Legionnaires. And okay, that's good. Iron Fang pikemen charging in as well. And they're killing off more of my Legionnaires. And it's going good, and it's going good. And then all of a sudden, he starts going there with the Butcher. And first of all, he lines it up so he can charge one of my Legionnaires, and he makes sure it's good, and it's just barely good, but all right. He charges over a wall. I'm like, whoa, do you have Pathfinder? He's like, oh, the Argus gives it to me. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. So he charges over, kills the Legionnaire. Then he's able to use Energizer to move even closer, then use a spell to draw everything within 5 inches closer, which is also Thagrosh. Pops his feet, casts a spell so that I can't transfer, because I'm sitting on transfers, and just beats the hell out of me and kills me. It's like, wow, you know, I just died, and you were a good ways away from me. You know, we were talking about after, like, what's the real threat range here? Because he was far ways away. He's like, you know, there's other ways to extend it. He had, you know, like, Ragman and blah, blah, blah. There's other ways you can extend things. I think Madame Carbeau for extra move and stuff. I don't know all the rest of it. However, just with him alone, we're looking at something like an 18-inch threat range. So it's like, wow. That guy just came from downtown, and I just lost. That's the first game, and the way that this one worked is that control points and points destroyed didn't really matter. It's really just going to go down and say who's the guy that's undefeated at the end, right? So basically at this point, I'm out of the tournament, which is, you know, whatever. I still get to play. But, you know, I didn't feel bad about this. It's one of these games where, sure, I lost at the top of turn 2. However, it's like, wow, I've learned something about this caster. I mean, sure, I know from the rumors that Butcher 3 was going to be good and he was supposed to do, like, amazing things. But it's really not to play them and see them played by a strong player. It's like, wow, these guys can do this. So that in the future, I would say that what I should have done really, now knowing how we can just cut through like that, is I really need to pop that feat first turn. That's really what I should have done. Because what that would have been able to do is those Shredders just would have been up in his face. I would have killed off that front line, so some of the Widowmakers, the Riflemen, a good chunk of the Iron Fang pikemen, Legionnaires are just clogging everything up then in between, and then he's forced to go after me, and it's a lot more of a grind fest, and who knows where that would go. It's, you know, he's the more experienced player, so probably it may go to his side, but at least, you know, I'm not as, at that point I was more spread out a little bit. I mean, I thought I had a lot in between us, but he was able just to whoosh, go straight to my caster and kill me. So there you go, there's game 1, and Malorian's looking pretty bad. My brother's is Crix. He also lost, so we're both doing just as crappy, so that's okay. That's okay. Going on to game 2. Now, game 2 is going to be somewhat interesting because I was up against one of the guys coming in from Saskatchewan, you know, next province over. And this is first, you know, kind of amazing because I've never seen these guys around before, right? Like, we're in different provinces. This is a far ways apart. They had to drive a long way to get here, which is, you know, pretty awesome. And I then, of course, know nothing about them. I know about the Grots. I try and watch their stuff on YouTube whenever I can just to learn and all these things. But these guys from Saskatchewan, no idea. However, when the one guy came in and was talking like, "Oh, we're finally here," I could smell that he was having a few drinks already. And when he was in there and chatting, he was talking about how like he's almost done his rum and all this stuff, and like he has his little special drink he has with him. It's just like a little plastic cup, but obviously it's a mix. It's like, wow. Okay, I don't know the skill level of this guy, but he's obviously been drinking a lot. And we sit down there, and of course, you can tell then he's drunk a lot. He's overly friendly, and he's saying, "Hey, I'm actually just my lists are made. I'm having to write them on pen on paper right now, really quick. But what do you want to face? Do you want to face Epic Morvana, or do you want to face Epic Balder?" And for my part, I've faced Epic Balder before. It looks like we might as well make this Steamroller a learning curve. So I said, let's bring out Epic Morvana. I've never faced her. I've seen battle reports of her. As opposed to Butcher 3, where really I just saw like some little rumors from before and the little tidbits, and I didn't really have all the pieces together. Epic Morvana I do know well from watching and reading about. And so, okay, let's just see now in action how it goes. Now, at this point here, of course, it's not really a game of list chicken. I know what he's going to play. I offered the same thing back. Like, do you want to pick which list you want to face then? So I can do the same thing back. He says, no, just do whatever you want. And so looking at this, I know that he's going to have a lot of these medium infantry with lots of boxes and decent armor. And this is almost the whole thing with the tanking. Now, the big thing with Epic Morvana is that her feat is that she can bring all these guys back. And the way you stop it is with remove from play. So the Shredders have that. The Shredders have remove from play with their snacking. However, first of all, they can't do snacking unless they themselves are already injured. And then secondly, they're not all that strong. So it's probably going to take a few attacks even to kill these guys. And so really the whole remove from play is pretty situational. However, in my Saren list, I have the Scythian. I wish I could be handing out Slaughterhouse like to 6 inches and just hand it around to everyone, but at least I have that one model that I can get in there and just keep on like, okay, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone, you're gone. So I'm going with Saren in that list there. Now, first of all, the scenario we have is the one where there's the 2 zones, 2 objectives, lots of ways to score, but let's go over his list. He has Epic Morvana, he has a Gorax, and he has the little stone guy. Can't remember his name, not the little like tiny shrimp thing, but just the little man. I don't normally face this guy because he's kind of small and weak, but that's all he's taken for beasts. Everything else is in medium infantry type stuff. So he has a big unit of the Skinwalkers, and there's the Alpha with them. He has a big unit of I can't remember, the new guys with the bows. He has a big unit of the Tharn whatever guys with the big axes, and there's like the Solo that goes with them. There's also the guys on the Wolves, and they're all running around. And it's like, everything is set up to have as many wounds as possible so that when she pops her feet and brings this stuff back, it's to the fullest effect. So there you have it. One of the things I might have done a mistake from the very beginning is I decided to give him first turn. And my reasoning for this was so that when he moves up, I'm able then to be able to hopefully be a bigger presence in the scenario, right? I can know where he's going. I'll have the first chance to score. The Angelius is a perfect person to go and push things out, and really, especially because of my feet, where I can go in there, start removing for play, push things out. Maybe I can get really ahead in the control points very early and just win this thing on control points alone. So that was my thinking there. However, after he took first turn, and I noticed how freaking fast his army is, on the first turn, again, it's a board where there's like a wall in the very center, and he's right there at the very middle, all right. He's right there. His wolves are rushing down the center, and it's like, wow, I can't go very far whatsoever before he's in charge range. So, because they got advantage deploy, and they're really fast. So this is all really bad. So I think, okay, if that's the way it's going to be, I'm just going to go up. The Ravagore shot down the Shaman from Tharn, whatever guys, And that's really all I do at the first turn. I hand out a lot of spiky growth just to make things difficult for him, but that's it. I don't advance very much at all. We're talking like an advance of 4 inches type thing off of my line. So he goes next, and he's starting to charging all over the place. And man, these guys hit hard. I mean, usually for Circle, I'm seeing a lot more of the sneaky teleporting stuff, not these medium infantry guys. But man, I got a pretty good respect for them because they hit hard, even with spiky growth. He was thinking that, man, he should have gone up and done the purification first. He didn't, so I got a little bit more protection there. But for the most part, yeah, he just had his bow guys going in my zone on the one side, and really his skinwalkers were too far back, so they're just taking position. And some of those like Tharn whatever guys are really charging and getting into my grill. So on my turn, this is going to be where I'm going to start going and killing these guys off, and my feet turn. And so I can't ignore my side of the zone because that's the one where if he controls, he gets 2 control points, dominates a 3. So I got to make sure I don't lose that. So in the very corner, I put a Ravagore. He takes off a shot on something, kills it. Otherwise, you know, my Carnivians and things, they're killing stuff. I have my Scythian put on the remove from play. He's going up. He's taking some of those skinwalkers out of the game. So that's pretty awesome stuff. And then I pop the feet and say, all right, you can't attack me this turn. And I'm feeling pretty good because even though it wasn't my usual idea where I'm getting into a zone and I'm just like clearing it out and then popping my feet, you know, at least I did okay damage. I didn't kill enough of his guys to make it tempting to do his feet already. But, you know, now it shouldn't be too bad, and then hopefully the Scythian can really crush things later. Well, what happens on his following turn is he has enough shooting in that list, and man, those bows are strong. Their strength 13 bows are scary, and he starts shooting up my Ravagore. And, yeah, you know, it'll be a thing where it's like, okay, you're -5, no damage. But with Morvana, where she can then take some damage and re-roll that, all of a sudden he'd be rolling fire. So what it was going to be like no damage, now like double 6, and it's like 7 damage. And he kills my Ravagore from the one zone, controls it, and gets 2 points. Meanwhile, everything's in my face and just kind of bogging me down. So all of a sudden, I'm in a very hard spot because he already has 2 points. I have to get something into the zone, and at the same time, I have a lot of stuff to kill. So I start off with my Ravagore, put on Slaughterhouse. He has a bad time. He's put his Gorax there, so I really mess up the Gorax. Take another Skinwalker or 2 out of the, you know, removed from play, so they're gone. And otherwise, I kill almost all of the Tharn Warrior guys in the front. And, you know, now I have the Carnivian, and I also have, sorry, I lost the Carnivian first. He was the guy in the zone. Now the Ravagore and the Protector in that zone, saying, all right, you can't kill 2 of these guys. So that's what I do. At this point, I'm not going to put out the spiky growth because I know he's just going to go and purify it off, so no big deal. His turn comes up. He's all right. What do you want me to do? I can either destroy the zone here and win by scenario, or you can kill the caster. And it's like, what? You sure you can kill the caster? I don't know, but looking at this, he was really sure he could do both. And I said, hey, why don't you just do the zone? I'm more of a control player, and I would love to see, like, you know, how it is that you're going to take over the zone and do it. So he starts doing that stuff. I didn't realize the little stone man has a shot as well. So he's able to go, and between all the shots and stuff, the wolves are there now causing trouble. He's able to go and kill the Protector. He's able to really mess up now the Ravagore, but he's not able to completely do it. And during this, again, Morvana, she is sacrificing herself for rerolls, getting some big numbers there, but she has to not do so much because she also pops her feet after. So after everything's said and done, she's down to 1 box, and now all of a sudden, like, all the little Tharn guys and stuff that I killed before, everybody's back. And remember that wall in the center? They are straight across. And, you know, everything else is around me, and I'm just bogged down. And this is the really kind of frustrating part about this, where it's like, I know that if I could get 1 shot onto her, I could do some real damage. Because, I mean, I can go and I can kill the Gorax, no transfer there. Little Stone Man, I think I can deliver something to him if I really put on. But the real thing I thought I could do is charge over with the Angelius, repulse to get everything off of the Ravagore. Ravagore advances and then shoots her, but she gets far back because she's fast cast. So she did all that stuff and then backed away. So the range is questionable, and then the thing that really kind of kills it is the spot where I need to be. There's that Tharn guy with his big great weapon, so if I'm engaged, I can't shoot anyway. So I figure, okay, we might as well just try and do attrition. What else can I do? And I do pretty well. That Ravagore does some really good work, kills a lot of guys over there. I kill the Gorax. I kill a good, decent amount of stuff, especially on the left side there, really trying to make sure he doesn't get that controlled again. But the big thing is, whereas I'd like to be camping because there's a lot of stuff around me now, I got to heal that Ravagore to keep it alive. So I basically throw everything over there to heal it up, except for a little bit on Carnivian that needed a branch put back up. But now I'm just basically naked with my Saren. And it comes up back to him and he says, "You know what? What do you want me to do? Kill the caster, or should I just get it with the scenario?" And I said, "Whatever you want. Why don't you try and do both?" And he's like, "Oh, well, okay, let's go with the scenario. You want to see a scenario, we'll go with the scenario." But he was so tempted because those little wolf guys, they were praying Saren, and they came over and they just rock some dice and they kill Saren. So I lose, and then just to show how he could, he went and killed the Ravagore as well, just so that he would have won on scenario as well. So in that game there, it's just really something where against Butcher 3, I didn't really know at all. And it's like, wow, this is what he can do. Against Morvana, Epic Morvana, it's something where I knew the idea behind it, but this is really pushed to the extremes. I mean, I've seen the idea where you have at least the one unit Skinwalkers, usually, for what I saw on the list anyways, like double Stalkers and stuff, because you really like the Prowl for when you're doing the Fog of War. But this is the one that was like, I mean, I didn't do the math on it, but I mean, it must be around like 150 wounds or something. Like, this was insane. And it's not just the whole thing with her feet, bring them back. It's those re-rolls. It is such a big deal, especially for these hard hitters, where if you ever have a bad roll, it's like, well, okay, I'll just take D3 damage and roll them again. So it was a little bit of a hit to my pride to lose to a guy who was pretty, had a lot to drink. But at the same time, again, it was a good learning game just to know what Epic Morvana can do. So Malorian's doing bad. I'm 0-2. At least this game was a bigger fight than last time. My brother won, so that's good for him. But yeah, it's not going so well for me. So at this point, I'm now ready for an easier game. I played against a Grot. I played against, with an awesome caster. Also went against like this nasty Epic Morvana list. Now I'm ready for more of a relaxed game. I'm 0-2. I'm in the bottom tables. At least now I can relax. And who do I get? Another Grot. And a really good Grot. Like, this is a guy that I always see at the top tables. This is a guy where, he goes to the big events, and I'm sure he does very, 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 very well. And somehow, he is in the bottom tables. And neither of us are happy about this. I try, keeping it nice and jovial, like, oh man, you must be having a pretty bad day. I wouldn't expect you to be down here. It's like, eh. So clearly, I don't know what bad rolls happened or what surprised him or whatever, but he is unhappy to be on the bottom tables, and I'm not exactly pleased to be playing this crazy good player. But again, it was a thing where we didn't have to do so much the list chicken because he just said, this is the list I'm doing. He did have another list. I didn't see what the caster was, but he did have the big, huge elephant with the guns. The name is escaping me right now. But the one he went with, it was a Makeda list. And this is one where I know exactly what it's supposed to do. I am not a pro at Skorne. I play them very, very little. I mean, I play minions more than I play against Skorne. But I understand how this is supposed to work. Because there's Makeda, there is a Gladiator, there's a Bronzeback, there is Karn, there is the Archidon, there is then a whole bunch of stuff. There's like the Agonizer, there's some Neolators, there's the little Soulstone guy, there's the Pain Givers, all this stuff. But really it's a whole thing where he does leash, he shoots guys way forward, and the Archidon is there to charge in and throw guys towards me as well. I understand how that works. I'm not a pro on how like the Agonizer works and stuff like this, but I understand this. So he gets first turn, and he just moves right up. And the Archidon is just flying right up. And by the way, what did I decide to take? Well, I decided to go with my Saren list because very simply, this is Skorne, this is combat, and Saren is anti-combat. So that's my idea there. What happens is he gets first turn, he's moving up, and what I figure I'm going to do is I know that Archidon what it's going to do. So what I'm going to do is move up, do Breath Stealer to it, so it can't charge. So basically, it's really depowered. Closest guy I put to him is a Protector, which I'm fine with leaving. Then on the right side, I have a Carnivian that is farther up. He has the respawn, so sure, he can die, then he can come back. And I figure that what's going to happen is that he's going to do his best to go after the Protector. He's going to come over, probably kill the Carnivian, but it's going to respawn. And then the other heavy is going to charge in and either kill the respawn guy or somebody else. But I should be losing two things, a Light War Beast and a heavy. And then next turn, I'm going to feat, take out his heavies, and really put the pressure on him. Now, the problem, first of all, is I go up with Saren, I boost to try and get the Breath Stealer, I need an 8, and I fail. Alright, these things happen. So what I do then is basically the same plan, I just throw guys around Saren to protect her, and that's it. And then also I put the turn back to him, and he's doing stuff that doesn't really make sense to me. He is just running up the Agonizer. I'm like, okay, what's happening? Is this what affects? He's like, no. He's just a throw target. Okay, whatever. Then Makeda just charges way up, charges one of his own guys to kill him, pops feet. And I mean, this is how little I know Skorne that I don't even know what the feat is really. But I mean, what it does, it lets you boost you to hits, I believe, and also you don't get free strikes. And so then he goes to charge his Archidon at Saren. I'm like, well, I don't think you can, but when you look at it, and the way I have it set up is just barely, absolutely like airtight. The large base can just barely sneak in this one spot here, and he can get to Saren. Like, honestly, if any one of my guys would have been just like a hair closer, there would have been no room there. And that's really my own fault. So what happens? Pretty straightforward. Charges in, attacks once, doesn't get the crit, attacks again, gets the crit, throws me towards the Agonizer, and at that point it's just game over. I mean, we go through the motions, but, Malakaran can charge in, the Gladiator can charge in. I am dead. So this one was a lot more frustrating because even though it's basically like the Butcher one, where for the second time I lose on the top of turn 2, like I said, Butcher 3, I had no idea. This was just like, wow, I can't believe this happened. Second game, it's a thing like, okay, I know this is crazy, but wow, this is even more crazy than I thought. This one was frustrating because I knew what he was going to do, and I just didn't stop it. I tried to stop it, but because I guess I was somewhat careless, didn't move it, a little bit more careful, a little bit of bad dice, but that's minor, then I die. So that was just really frustrating. And of course, the thing, too, is like, this is my game. I was hoping to relax and, like, actually win for once. And it was just like, no, you're dead. So, somewhat luckily, my brother also got slaughtered this round. And because this tournament was running kind of long, we decided, you know what, I mean, if we're going to make it home at a decent time that our wives won't kill us, we should probably go now. So that's what we did. We didn't play the fourth game. I mean, we're both way out of it anyway. And that's the thing with War Machine, where a lot of guys drop anyway. So it's not a big deal. It's not like Fantasy, where it really screws up the whole tournament. It's kind of something that you see a lot. But yeah, let's just go back and look at some things, like my list. Do I think that the lists I brought were a good idea? And really I do. I have nothing that I really have against the lists I used. Really, what I needed was better knowledge, maybe I could say in my Saren list, it might be nice to have more Ravagors, not Ravagors, more Scythians. Instead of 2 Carnivians, maybe go with the double Scythian. I have 2 more points to turn that Protector into something else, or get some support staff in there, like a couple of Shepherds or something like that. But for the most part, I think the lists were fine. The biggest thing that I was lacking going into this was knowledge, and that's a funny thing where I've been playing for maybe 2.5 years, 2 years, something like that. But the big thing is at this point, there's still like half the casters I have never played against, and even a lot of the ones I have played against, it's like I've played them once, and I don't fully understand everything that they can do. So when in the hands of an expert, they just really catch me off guard. It's like, all right, you lose. And one of the things is like the time of shame, where normally it was like at the shop, it's like, oh man, I just caught you and I just won. All right, let's set up another game. When it's at these tournaments, like, all right, I lost and I got an hour and a half to the next game. And you sit there and you wait. So, but whatever. I just basically need to go to more of these events and higher level events. I play an okay amount up in Fort McMurray, but it's more of a newer meta. It's more fresh. There's not that really high skill level, so that even when I face some of these things, they're probably not pulling out all the tricks. And it's also a thing where it's more of a friendly meta. I bet you I don't see guys like Epic Haley because people don't want to be that jerk, right? But really, when it comes down to it, when you have to get ready for a tournament, it'd be like in fantasy, for those that are playing both, saying like, you know what, I just not going to play Savage Orc Biggins because they're so good. And then also you get to a tournament, it's like, wow, these guys are crazy. So I really have to start upping my game, going to more of these things if I'm really going to take this serious. And I really would like to do that. Get up to a more average level at least, because definitely looking across it, I was like, on the bottom. I was looking really bad. And that's not where I want to be. I want to be at least middle or a little bit higher. I don't expect to be like up here and beating everyone, but I want to be here. I want to be here. I want to be the average guy at least. So there you have it. What my thoughts on the event, it was a very good event. This guy has a very great shop. Terrain, I think terrain had to be changed. I mean, the thing about terrain is that it was just kind of like quickly put on. And I think for, there's a couple of cases where I saw where, the terrain wasn't very fair. But really, at the most part, it seemed that overall, for the majority, it was set up to be too fair. You have a lot of this mirror match stuff. A lot of these walls in the center, which, I mean, it's good and it's bad. It's a thing where it really pulls you to the center, but if you do have one army that's really fast and gets their first turn, it really gives them a big advantage. So one of the things I'd probably like to see more of is more asymmetrical terrain. Have it meaning more for when people are rolling off and picking to go first or second, because normally if you go second, it's bad because of how well, okay, second is kind of good because you're countering, but then the other person's picking sides and all this stuff, right? So there's that give and take. In this part here, everything was usually mirror town, so it didn't really matter. But, that's kind of a minor thing. A big thing here is just that it was really good to see all these groups together. I mean, here it is. It's St. Albert. It's kind of like this smaller town outside of Edmonton. And here you have all these different communities coming together to play at this. It's almost like a convention with all these groups coming from different provinces even to come and play here. So very, very awesome to see how this is developing and the high level of skill player there. Really, I got to go to more of these things, like I said, to get that level. But definitely something that needs to happen is some way to speed it up a little bit, because we were a little bit behind the ball. And you do get to that point, especially if you've lost a few like I did and you're out of it. And you're like, you know what? At this point here, at first the hope was going to be done at like 6:30. The way things were going, you weren't going to be done until about 7:30. And at that point, when you got, the family and stuff at home waiting for you, it's like, well, I might as well leave now type thing. But, again, I mean, that's just something where it's a lot of work. It's a lot of people in there. I'm just trying to think how many it would be. I think it was at least 20 people there. Just this guy running a shop. And here he is running this tournament by himself. He set up all the table. He set up all the terrain. He's providing food. He's setting everything up for the matches. he is also running the store, so at the same time, people are coming in and he's dealing with them. So it's a lot of work. And I think maybe one of the things that he needs is maybe he needs a press ganger, right? Maybe somebody needs to be there to give the guy some help because it is a lot of work to do this stuff. For the fantasy side, when you usually see people running these big events, it's a team type thing, right? Multiple people are working together, at least two. So, it is a lot of work. It was really awesome. A big thank you to, let's just say it, Thunderground in St. Albert. Awesome store, awesome guy running it. And there you have it. So sorry for no pictures. And I didn't get to go up against Dan from Mini Wargaming. Maybe another time. But yeah, I hope you guys took a little bit from this, a little bit of the tactical insight. And even though it kind of downgraded it because I lost every single game, I hope you got something from it. So there you go. Thanks for watching. Bye.